Today James is doing the reviews again. I'm just going to talk about the first season of Magnum PI a little bit. I made James a cream of vegetable soup and grilled cheese sandwich and chocolate cake. And I don't know how that cream of vegetable soup will be because I made some earlier today and it was good.
Yeah.
But I remembered later, after I made the first batch, I remembered, oh, I have asparagus stems to juice. And so I juiced them. But when I added the cream to the asparagus juice, I know he's very brave, hey? When I added the cream to the asparagus juice,
sorry about that.
then the cream curdled, I think. Or maybe that's how the cream looks with the asparagus juice.
Yeah,
I don't know. So we'll see if it tastes, how it tastes. So it's more of a stew.
Oh, that's good. That's the way soup should be, I think.
Yeah.
You know, so you get more stuff in it.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Broths are kind of defeat the purpose, you know.
Well, if you're sick, that's all you can handle, really.
I guess. When I'm sick, I can't handle anything, really. But
well, yeah. Kind of wean yourself onto food again with broth, I think. But anyway.
That was one cute little black cat chickadee. The swallows are sparrows are maintaining a bit of more of a distance.
Yeah, they are.
They're hanging in the background there.
Surprising.
The lilacs and on a neighbor's
so we'll see how
roof.
your soup is. I don't know.
Well, it seems kind of warm here.
Too warm for you?
Yeah, too hot for comfort.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about Magnum PI. So this is a remake of the original. And when I first saw it on the shelf, I didn't realize that, and then I quickly realized that. Turning it
Took
over
me a long time to realize that. I kept hearing someone calling a guy Magnum, and I'm going, man, someone's going to sue. Someone's really going to sue.
Yeah, but anyway, so I will say I was disappointed with who they cast for Magnum.
Kind of a wimpy looking guy.
Totally, I know.
He
not
sounds
studly
wimpy
at all.
looking.
And
no.
But he acts kind of studly, so which makes it worse, right? It's like that Horatio Kane or whatever off the CSI, the Florida one. What's that one?
Oh, that little,
Miami. So bad.
Stud.
So I mean,
would-be stud.
Nobody wanted to watch that show, I think, because of him, right?
Cringing embarrassment. Yeah.
But this one managed to hang on. This is there's 24 discs in here, so. I don't know.
Yeah, it reminds me of one of my relatives.
Like
back in the 80s,
seasons.
he's always had to dress like Al DeBarge, and he really thought he was studly.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some women that he wasn't married to apparently thought that too. But
yeah, well,
he was like 5'7" or something like that in platform heels.
Yeah, it's.
Oh well.
Yeah. Anyway, so one thing good about this casting this guy is he's not as nearly as tall as Tom Selleck, so he actually
didn't sound tall.
Looks like he fits a Ferrari, right? That was a little comical about Tom Selleck driving around the Ferrari because, I mean, it doesn't look studly at all when he's way too big for the thing.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
I don't know what he should have been on.
I don't know either.
Or tank,
but anyway.
Big guys never strike me as being fast or anything like that.
No.
Because I've played soccer against them, I've played basketball against them, I've played football against them, played floor hockey against them, and they're all, I have to say it, they tend to be slow between the ears and not just on their feet.
Well, anyway, so with this show, there's Higgy Baby is a woman, and Magnum certainly doesn't ever call her baby. And really...
Does he call her Higgy, though?
Yes. So...
That is funny. I haven't heard that. I heard the English accent.
Yeah. So, at first I was like, oh, this is stupid, having a pretty woman as Higgy, you know, whatever. But then it turned... Yeah. So she's MI5
MI5 or MI6.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Hey baby, sorry I looked. Yeah, I know, I shouldn't have. So she has some skills. And really, she has more skills as a private investigator than Magnum does. So she's actually really good for him to have around. And then later on, once you get to the story crafters actually did a good job introducing you to the characters and laying everything else. Yeah, hi, baby.
She didn't look over it, and you still got chickened out. Chickadee out.
And so once they let you hear the cell tone ringtones for each individual person, so especially Higgins' phone's ringtone for Magnum and vice versa, it's quite good, because Higgins just sees Magnum as a layabout who's totally
you keep joking when I've got my mouth full.
Sorry, but she thinks he's pretty much useless, and he's just freeloading off of his friend Robin, who owns this big estate that she's managing the security for, and I mean, it's his Ferraris and stuff like that Magnum is driving. Nothing belongs to him. He just lives in a guest house, and so Higgins doesn't think very highly of Magnum, and so she has a couple Doberman Pinscher guard dogs that she hasn't trained not to attack him, so he's having to run away from them all the time. And so his ringtone for her when she phones him, a picture of the two attack dogs comes up, and it's barking for, like, they're barking at him when she's calling him. And then his ringtone on her phone is I don't want to work, I just want to bang on the drum all day. That's, so it's great, right? And Cyndi Lauper was in this, and you get a little
I even heard her. She sounded the same age. But.
And so you actually get a little bit of a heads up that she's going to come on, because one of the cell tone rings is girls just want to have fun, right? So that's great too. So some people who were writing this really did put in the work, and it's entertaining. The show's entertaining. Now
Cyndi Lauper's got to be around my age. I don't think that's changed.
She looked lovely, but I don't know when this came out. It's 2024 is when this box set came out, but I don't know. Oh, 2018 to 2023. So it was quite recent, and she looked lovely.
That's good.
So, anyway.
Keep it going, Cyndi.
Yeah.
When you were on the radio, it wasn't just girls that were having fun.
Oh, it was
anyone
everyone,
with any
I think.
taste
Yeah.
did. No?
Especially Time After Time, I think. Didn't everybody love
all
that
through
song?
the nights, my favorite.
All Through the Night's lovely, yeah.
Got a great tune, and
yep.
of course she's a great voice.
Anyway, so what else was I going to say about this show? Now, had they got a different person to play Magnum, I think this show would be just, it's going strong still. Because honestly, it kind of, when you're watching him, especially the fact that he acts kind of studly.
He sounds like about as studly as a Mormon missionary.
Yeah, well, it makes me, like, you're watching him and you're thinking, this is what the loser guys that are working at, as a store clerk or whatever, they come home to watch in the evening and fantasize about being, right?
Or worse yet, security guards who come home.
Sure, whatever.
Who tape it and then watch it in the daytime.
But you want to have somebody that they would actually fantasize about being, not somebody that looks like them, right? Because they don't really want somebody who looks like them. They want to pretend. They want this idea of, oh, I'm this big stud, and this guy, he's not. He's just not. So. Anyway, still I like a lot of the stories. I find them entertaining, and it's we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm just finishing up season 1 now, and we'll see what I think about it in later seasons. So,
What you said reminds me a little bit of what David Lee Roth said about Elvis Costello. He said the reason why the critics loved Elvis Costello was because he looked like them.
mm,
Real put down on Elvis
mm,
and the critics. But of course, the reason why David Lee Roth's fans liked him is because he didn't look like them.
yeah,
Teenage boys.
yeah, exactly. Who want to look
20-year-old
like
rock critics who look like teenage boys. They look like teenage boys. So.
Yeah. So anyway, that's all I have to talk about. I guess. How's your soup?
Disappearing pretty rapidly. So.
Okay, so I didn't
That's,
ruin it with juicing the asparagus. See, because I always like to. I have afterwards.
I like
I have all the
asparagus
stems that I break off. They're too woody to eat, right?
Yeah.
You break the bottom part of the asparagus stems off. And what do you do with it? Well, juice it and make some soup.
Is that too woody, Harrelson or Allen? No, I'm just kidding. Probably Buddy Allen.
So, anyway, I guess on to you.
Okay. So math morning, like this is, you might want to tune out because you're probably going to be tuning out as I start speaking. Figurative. Mathematical century, the 30 greatest problems of the last 100 years. I started reviewing this yesterday, but for all you folks that didn't tune out, this is something that's going to be a lot more attractive. This is a preview. Started it today. I've had it sitting around for a while. I can tell that it was a reject from the downtown library here in Lethbridge, and bought it a while back. I hope I didn't pay that. I suspect actually I bought it at a book sale for a significantly reduced price. So it says $3 there, that's used. So this is a guy called Ranulph Fiennes, and that's not, what is it, Ralph Fiennes is the actor. Are there a couple of Fiennes brothers, roughly my age, maybe 70, who were quite famous and actually reasonably good actors too. Not the most studly looking folks on the block, but since when does acting have to do with anything like that? Anyway, well, maybe this is him. Yeah? So I don't think he's related. He actually looks reasonably studly. Looks to be a big tall guy or something like that. There's a picture rather of him here with the former Prince of Wales, now Prince or King Chuckles the First, and what would it be? King Chuckles the Goof? Yeah, here he is. I think this is him with the sideburns. There's Prince Charles. I don't think of Prince Charles as being an inordinately small guy. And this Fiennes guy is towering over him and looking considerably better looking. I don't know if Fiennes doesn't strike me as being a terribly English name. It strikes me as actually being French, but I couldn't tell you what it would mean in French. Maybe it's Welsh or something like that. Although the Welsh folks that I've run across, aside from one displaced Italian, perhaps via Germany, they've all been quite blonde, actually. I don't know what Henry VIII was. He was Welsh, and back in the day, I suspect he still is. His corpse still is. But anyway, Elizabeth I, I think, was his daughter, not his eldest daughter. But she apparently had red hair. Stuff like that. Anyway, the Atlantic, no, it's the Atlantis of it. I'm just trying to see if you're more awake than I am. It takes me about till 6 o'clock with the meds that I take to wake up, and that's the next day. I'm obviously 24 hours behind time for waking up. Anyway, the search for the lost city of Wabar or Ubar, a guy called Philby of Arabia thought it should be called Wabar. He thought he discovered it. I think he blew it seriously. You can see this map. Philby thought it was there because he crossed across the Arabian Desert, going east to west. One of it, a rival of his, went north-south and would have had better luck locating the actual bar, which is down. I don't think it's showed up on this map, but Wabar, yeah, that's what Philby maintained. It should be called, if that name sounds familiar to you. If it doesn't, I'm going to tell you why it should. And it really should. Philby, his son, was a commie. And that would be bad enough, except he was a commie trader. And, you know, like treason towards any particular country, you know, like if it's against Russia, either communist or Putin-esque, is actually a good thing. But if you're a traitor against democracy, anything resembling a democracy, you are bad, bad scum. So Kim Philby was helping, looks like, doing things like coordinating the passing of atomic secrets to the Soviets in the early part of the Cold War. There were others, and they all came through, they were kind of vetted by English. We were talking about Higgy Baby being having a background in British spy agencies. You know, the Brits actually, from what I can tell, handled on the ground spying, intelligence, as it's known in the intelligence circles. They did a better job. I think they generally had people, because they had an empire for quite a long while, had people who'd been on the ground, variety of different places, so a little bit of a better command of languages and stuff like that. Americans pretty bad at that, but where the Brits were really bad, particularly in the early part of the Cold War, and Americans got into the spying business late. You know, I don't think they really had an agency until World War II. Check it out. Before World War II, the Americans had the 17th biggest army in the world, the third biggest country in terms of population, and by far the richest country per capita, I suspect, but definitely per, like for overall wealth. And what do I mean by that? They had 1/3 of the world's economy at the beginning of World War II, but according to the stats I've run across, the 17th biggest army. And you know, like when you try to enumerate the countries that would have been ahead of it, it's appalling. Like Germany, Japan, Russia, probably England, France. We're running out of larger countries. You see what I'm saying? Maybe China, I don't know. China was having to fight against Japan at that point in time. You know, that's only 6. Like, who are the other 11? It's appalling to consider. Anyway, yeah, maybe Turkey, some scumbag entity like that. And yeah, Turkey throughout the 20th century was pretty much of a scumbag country. And the big trouble is, starting 2003 or thereabouts, when Erdogan was elected, it became even a worse scumbag country. Get some taste, you guys. Jesus H. God. Awful. Anyway. So, there's nothing that says you have to be a scumbag country. I'm not saying you're that by definition. But I just look at the sort of performance that you do. A scumbag country before World War I, before the Young Turks even. And then World War I, the Young Turks got into power a little bit before, and they were doing a genocide. Their predecessors were doing genocide in my granddad's lifetime. It's too recent for comfort, really. 1890s, as I recall. I was around. No, I wasn't. I'm old. Anyway, that was about 60 years actually before I was born, 2 generations. But and then under Kemal Ataturk, father of the Turks, they carried out another genocide. This is just of Armenians. They carried out an ethnic cleansing under Kemal Ataturk of Greeks in the western part of Turkey. Oh, the Turks have no right to be in. Yeah, way more right than the Turks. The Turks come originally from Siberia. From Siberia. And there are records going back to minimum before 700 BC. That's BC, not AD, okay? Of Greeks being in Cyprus. And the Hittites, whose records are misdated by 500 years because they're dated before roughly 700 BC, 500 years too early. The Hittites record recognizably Greek names in the western part of Turkey, and it's misdated to about 1400 BC, but you take out the offending, or they should be they're offensive. They're not offending enough people. The intervening years of missing years, ghost years. 900 BC, western part of Turkey. Come on. You know, so the Turks don't have a right to the western part of Turkey. The Greeks actually do, if anyone does. The Armenians have a claim to pretty well all the rest of Turkey. Now, Turks keep on thumping their breasts and say, hey, we've done the genetic testing, and that indicate that we're basically Armenians, or 50% Armenians. Doesn't matter. You know, like mestizos, Métis, as they're called here in Africa, don't have a prior claim or a superior claim to, for example, Canada or the United States, just because they've got part indigenous ancestry. They just don't, over people who've got indigenous ancestry, pure, or as close to pure as possible. I know that probably seems a little bit harsh to the Turks and their huge number of supporters, but that's the way it goes. You know, if you want to call Greeks Europeans, go ahead. But 900 BC, there were Greeks in the western part of Turkey. That's carved in stone. The Hittites kept records. The fact is, the Hittites were Indo-Europeans. And their empire extended outside of Turkey, down into present-day Assyria, bordering on Lebanon, bordering even on Israel, or as some people misnomer it, Palestine. Not Palestine. Palestine is Philistia, the present-day Gaza Strip, with a few add-ons that the Jews have managed to get control of. Understand, the West Bank is Israel. It's not Jordan. It's not Palestine. It's Israel. And actually, the Golan Heights, maybe even more of it than the Jews hold. Israel. Now, the Assyrians recorded encountering tribes up there, north of, or around the Sea of Galilee, north, east, around, in the reign of Tiglath-Pileser III, or Pileser III, however you want to mispronounce his name. His name would be maybe more closely approximated as Tukulti Apple Ashara. Some people looking as though they're doing something official and not something officious. How often does that happen? Anyway, just had to check, right? In case there were problems. Because this alley has problems. More than I like. Anyway, Atlantis of this ends. Search for the lost city of Ubar. So I don't know how many lost cities there are. When did Guy find this stuff? This book is maybe 1990 or something like that. Let's just see when it was put out. I've started it. Definitely haven't finished it. This is a preview. 1992. So he said he was searching for this lost city for 25 years. But there are other lost cities, like the lost city of Akkad, A-K-K-A-D, where the Acadians came from. That's not the people who settled the eastern part of Canada, the French people. And when they were kicked out, some of them settled in Louisiana and were called Cajuns. It's just a mispronunciation, apparently, of Acadian. Acadian. Anyway, I know Acadians constituted the first, then they extended their empire, the first empire to do so, onto another continent. Although you'd have to say really the Egyptians probably did it working the other direction, working to Asia, but it was a lot easier for them to do than it was for the Acadians, because they had to work through a lot more hostile territory to get to Egypt from Africa. So how much time is there left to go?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Anyway, they haven't been able to find Akkad. And now the archaeologists are going around saying, "Oh, it's under Baghdad," and therefore, well, we don't have to dig for it because hey, we'd have to dispossess some people. Not under Baghdad; it's close to it. It's a place called Jamdat Nasser. Right? That's the Arabic name for it. The Sumerian name for it is something like Kidnun or Kid, something like that. K-A-D is the important thing. Sumerian's a different language. You can't expect them to be wow, we're linguists and we're going to get an exact rendering of the Akkadian word for Akkad. Languages don't work out that way, particularly when we're talking about ancient language. So it's K-I-D. Okay? And it's Jamdat Nasser, that's a modern day present name. But can't find it. I didn't have to go blistering through the sands. And it didn't take me actually that long to find it. I actually found it in an atlas at not the university library, at the University of Lethbridge, which isn't the most prestigious university in Canada, or even Alberta. But at the downtown library, they have this I think they still have it, the Atlas of Mesopotamia, and there it was. I opened up a page, double page spread, atlas or a map of Mesopotamia, and there it was, right in the middle. Anyway, again, Troy. Heinrich Schliemann discovered that, and yet they can't figure out that the walls that were destroyed, as the account is given in Homer, that's the previous city to the Trojan city that was ruined by the Greeks. No. The archaeological dating system is off by one occupation. The one underneath, the one that they thought was sacked by the Greeks, is the one that was actually occupied by the Trojans, a wonderful city and stuff like that. The wall was destroyed just as it was. The account was given in the Iliad. I've discovered the names of Priam, the king of Troy, discovered the alternative name, the patronymic of Menelaus, the husband of Helen of Troy, who was stolen by Paris, lured off by Paris. So stay tuned.